Serving an intersection of various Richmond communities, from VCU students to local residents, churches, and the homeless, Monroe Park is one of the oldest public spaces in the city. Historical site of a military hospital, festivals, political rallies, and currently the only green space in the center of the city, Monroe Park is about to undergo some fundamental changes.
Major makeover coming to Richmond's historic Monroe Park. The city is about to embark on a multi-million-dollar project to renovate the 7 acres right in the heart of downtown Richmond.
And this is a 20 by 20 foot model of what Monroe Park could one day be.
And we want to bring the city parks into the 21st century. And we believe this is a real first step towards doing that.
Architects for 3 North have created this $6.2 million plan to renovate. They've rearranged the walkways, opened up space, added a new water fountain that mimics the James River. They want to add new seating areas, lighting, trash bins, create a game area, and a place for summertime movies, outdoor concerts.
During these renovations, Samuels and the Monroe Park Advisory Council plan to close off the park completely, surrounding it with a 9-foot-tall fence to bar all public entry for a time period of between 9 and 18 months. Samuels is the councilman behind Richmond's controversial noise ordinance, which is now being challenged in court on constitutional grounds. He's also attempted to outlaw dancing in Richmond establishments that aren't granted a special dance hall permit. After the plans were made, Councilman Samuels dedicated his entire 2nd District newsletter to listing reasons why he believes Richmond needs to remove the homeless from Monroe Park. One problem, underlined in the newsletter, is that there is no drinking water and no working bathrooms. But this video was taken in Monroe shortly after the newsletter's publication.
Water fountain clearly works.
Another problem, Samuel says, are what he calls the random feeding programs, a characterization which has angered the churches, food pantries, and social justice groups who have been meeting the basic needs of Richmond's most vulnerable citizens for almost 2 decades.
We've been feeding homeless people here in Monroe Park for about at least 18 years, every Sunday. We be there every Sunday. We never miss being there.
Food Not Bombs is really great because we take a lot of food that might otherwise be put to waste, be thrown away, not used, and make big meals and share it with lots of people in the park. There's a lot of different kinds of meals that go on by other organizations. We specialize in vegan food. They can come here and get fresh fruit, fresh salad, greens, and it's really healthy. I feel really good when I eat it.
The allegation that was made most recently by the city council person for this district was that the programs in the park are random. But just speaking for Food Not Bombs, it's not random if it's only missed 2 meals in 17 years.
Our organization works in 8 different cities across Virginia, and I think by far Monroe Park is a really nice place for people to be able to come. It's a very safe environment to be able to do ministry and for people to be here, so it's a great park.
Unfortunately, our city has, nearly 20% of its population living below the poverty line, and someone like Charles Samuels, who's on city council, could probably do something to help people.
Samuels and Monroe Park Advisory head Alice Massey have further claimed that these feeding programs actually facilitate homelessness, suggesting that if the hungry weren't given food, they would actually be better off. But our own conversations with people in the park seem to tell a different story.
I was riding my bicycle to work one morning and I got hit by a car. So I had to come back to Richmond because of the doctors, because the local hospital where I was at doesn't have a head trauma unit. And I had a concussion and blood clots on my brain, along with a fractured leg and a fractured and dislocated shoulder. So right now I'm out of work. That's why I come down here to the park. I don't have no money coming in. I know that you can eat, hang out here.
That was a million years that I think that I will find myself in this situation. I've had a house, I owned a house, I own expensive cars, but by the luck of the draw, and by not having a safety net, and having the society etch away all the safety nets that was in place in the early 80s, by the 90s, it was no longer that safety net there to protect working people. And I found myself in a situation, and you could be next. So
I lived in this park for several years, and I wasn't able to go anywhere else. I was, 14, 15, 16 years old. There wasn't anywhere else for me to go. And I ran away from an abusive situation. And I didn't have any viable alternatives except to stay in a place like this.
I'm very sensitized to the reality of not wanting to see those people. But it's interesting when you become one of those people, and the way the economy is going now, you yourself may become one of those people.
Nobody knows how easy and how quickly you become homeless. There's only a thin line between homeless and a job.
But the homeless are not the only people who gather for meals and fellowship in the park.
Food Not Bombs is not about just feeding the homeless people. They are about serving everyone. And there's a lot of people who don't fall into the category of being homeless who come and share a meal in Monroe Park. It could be the working poor, it can be students, it can be people who live in adult homes, and of course the homeless as well.
I'm not homeless. I have somewhere to live. I'm on a fixed income, but there are people out here that need this kind of help.
It's a beautiful park, you know. The grass is green. There's so many trees. Like all these people are around. You can see a lot of things from here, and just like you can come out here and relax. You know, get a break from the hustle and bustle of the day.
Yeah, I come out here all the time actually. This is the first time I've been out here barefoot, and I'm actually thinking I'm gonna come do it more. And honestly, I don't think homeless people are a problem. Like, if you have a problem with people congregating in a place that has benches and a sitting area, then you're doing something wrong.
Personally, eating outside under the trees with your friends and with people from different communities, from different churches and organizations, I think that's a great experience. It's something that people take part in here in the park every week, every day, and if you think that needs to end, then you need to get your head checked, because this park has a long tradition of bringing people together and not dividing people, not mistreating them, and cutting off really a valuable place with a fence. I mean, it just sounds like a bad idea for the city of Richmond.
While Councilman Samuels openly calls for the removal of the homeless, Monroe Park Advisory Head Alice Massey insists that they are not trying to remove the homeless from Monroe. And yet, the master plan approved by the council calls for just this measure. The reason cited? Women. Women don't like homeless people. If we want more women in the park, the plan says, we must reduce the ratio of apparently homeless people to about 1 out of 85. The plan also includes funding for a private security force. As an alternative to Monroe Park, Samuels suggests consolidation of feeding programs at the Conrad Center, several miles away.
It looks over top of a jail, and it reminds us every time that we think about the state of homelessness, of displaced workers. It shows us what our next stop could be. Being in Richmond is illegal to be homeless. Anywhere you go, the first question is, may I see your ID? Particularly if you're a male of color, may I see your ID? Where are you going? Oh, you can't be on this park bench, or you can't be here. Everywhere you go, it's a process of criminalizing people for being poor.
I mean, the Congress is a nice place, from my understanding, but it's just too far for these people. A lot of people out here, it's not healthy enough to walk that far, you know. Like when I first got back to Richmond, I was in a wheelchair. There was no way I could get to the Conrad Center and then wheel myself back up that hill, let alone get down it in a wheelchair. We've got people on crutches, people with walkers that come here. I mean, that's too far away.
I'm for making the park look nice, things like that, more open to people, but the way that they're going about it makes it more exclusive to some people. In the plans either said not having feeding programs here, and that's not fair because the place that they want to have feeding programs at, there's no buses that can go to it. It's right across the street from the jail, and like a lot of people that come are older people or younger people. It doesn't matter who. Nobody's going to want to walk all the way there, not be able to stay there for that long and have to walk back. And Monroe Park's right in the middle of the city, and everybody can get to it.
The Conrad Center is a band-aid on the bigger problem.
What's the bigger problem?
Homelessness, people with no jobs, nowhere to go. People need to be fed.
The folks we talked to in the park had some very common sense suggestions for how the city could renovate the park and still keep the space public and open to the people who need the programs provided there.
Maybe just take a section of it, you know, let the rest of us have part of it. It's supposed to be a public park. Why can't they close up part of it at a time and renovate one part
leave the other part open.
I don't think that it should be like privatized and like only, you know, limited to certain people, you know?
That unless there's a plan or a way to be able to have a place for the homeless people to gather freely without any restrictions, that type of thing, and a place for people to come help them, then I can't support the city being able to move the homeless people out, but by closing this park down and renovating it.
Well, I'd kind of be curious whether they've ever sat down with any of the folks who are here and who are here and
got their input
about what can we do to make the park better.
Well, I just want to say that if a year from now we find ourselves with a 9-foot tall fence, probably with razor wire on top of it, cutting us off from the only green space in the center of the city, we're going to be kicking ourselves, and there's going to be a lot of people who are uprooted from their current routine, and where are they going to go? I don't think we want to know. I don't think we want to find out, actually, if we're not willing to really give people viable options.